Hello my friends and welcome to my virtual reality attic. Had the size of the place increased a bit, but a bit more light's getting in. I haven't blocked off these windows. I need to get some curtains, I think. That might help with the tracking. Fortunately this game does seem to have some tracking problems. Like, I feel like with the PlayStation VR the tracking is seemingly random. Like sometimes it will just work flawlessly and then under the same conditions it just won't work at all, and I don't know why. I don't understand it. I'm never going to understand it. This is my struggle. But in this game in particular the tracking just seems slightly... like, it feels like even though I'm stock still, I'm swaying back and forth like imperceptibly. And it's not in time with my breathing, so it's definitely not me. It's just a bit weird. So I'm going to apologise for that up front, and there's not much I can do about it. But anyway, Moss. Played with the old DualShock. Bring it up in the air. No move controller. It's got the light bar on the back. If I block it off, it's still tracking it. Okay, so I guess some element of the tracking must be the accelerometer in the thing. Yeah, okay, it doesn't know exactly where it is, but it knows which way it's going. That's interesting. Maybe that's why it feels so weird, because it's not just tracking you, it's sort of guessing. But yeah, like, this... I suppose it's more likely to lose track of you. Anyway, on to the game itself. Now, Moss is a 3D platformer, which is interesting for a VR game, as VR games are, by their very nature, from a first-person perspective. It's got a bit of a storybook feel, a bit of a fairy tale sort of thing going on. I dig it, it's alright. I mean, the cutscenes are a bit long, and some of them I'd prefer if they'd made them in-engine, but, you know, I understand, you know, budget constraints and the like. It's probably a lot easier to make these sort of semi-animated cutscenes that we're going to experience in this book.
While we began this tale long ago, we hope it is yours to finish. But this story is not yours alone. No, it is tied to another. And the journey you take together could change the fate of both our worlds. Shall we begin? They called it.
Also, if you find these boring, you can just skip through them as you like.
Those dark, starless skies would change the world of Moss forever. The peace that had settled across the land was broken by an unconquerable nightmare. And that night, the animals nearly met their end. First, they killed the king. A winged creature broke from the shadows and plucked him from his royal bedchamber high atop the tallest tower. Next, the serpent Sarfog and the armies of the arcane tore up from the underworld. They ravaged the castle in search of that which gave the king power beyond understanding. One of the fabled glass relics. The Kingsguard fought bravely, but the castle soon pulsed with the arcane's evil. Every room was gutted, every statue, tapestry, and adornment hexed. But the glass was never found. Even the reclusive sprites set aside their differences on that fated night. They sent a great champion, empowered by their own glass relic, to challenge the serpent and its steel army. Meanwhile, Sir Argus, commander of the Kingsguard, led the survivors west through a temple long abandoned by their ancestors and far away from their newly risen enemies. It was an arduous escape. Finally, after passage beneath the impassable mire, they found refuge in a clearing hidden safely in the trees. Argus charged back to join the Sprite champion at the Mire's edge. Together, they fought back the arcane and sealed the temple passage that led to the clearing. But the champion was gravely injured. Clutching his glass, he retreated deep into the forest where he drew his last breath. A large tree grew upon him. It stood many years in watchful duty, safeguarding the glass and awaiting its next hero. That hero, albeit an unlikely one, did arrive at a time she'd be needed most. Quill was out adventuring beyond the edge of the clearing. Dusk was creeping in, but she wondered what she might find if she went just a little farther. She was not exactly sure what she roused, but she felt no danger from the beings silently peering down at her. Quill had to hurry. The village gates would soon close, and night would follow.
She dropped her button and she never picks it back up. Guess the last relic is a bigger prize. Right, so that was a lot of information to take in. Basically, the mice lived in a big castle, had a big castle town. Then the underworld rose up and conquered it, and then they ran away through a temple, and now they live in the woods. And this red tree is very definitely the one from the opening. The Sprite champion done got killed. So this is the gameplay of the game. We've got these lovely little stages. We got some motion control elements, which are thankfully not too prevalent given the quality of this. Maybe that's why they made it an orb, so it could be as flighty and weird as it wants. You can pet our little mouse friend. Tickle her behind the ears. Man, our precious little mouse friend, Quill. So taking damage in this game feels awful. Because we must protect our precious little mouse friend, our darling little mouse. But the neat thing about the game, of course, is being as it's a first-person game, you can really look around the stages and investigate the nooks and crannies yourself.
When danger was most present, but Quill preferred the stories of the magical creatures that woke to protect the forest.
As I say, I do wish that some of the cutscenes were handled in-game rather than in the storybook format. I do understand time constraints, budgets, etc. It'll be a lot easier to produce than an actual like 3D cutscene. But it's just nice watching these little creatures move around and interact. Hello. I mean, Krill's quite nicely reactive to what you do. And you can see her through objects, so you know. Her eyes track you, but when she can't see you, they stop. It's nice little bit of personality. Collectibles, very important, of course. In any 3D platform, there's all sorts of knickknacks to find. There's only two sorts of collectible that I'm aware of in this game. I haven't finished it. I played through. I'm not even sure how long the game is. It's probably not terribly long. This will be a full playthrough. And some streams you'll find yourself just looking around trying to see where Quill's going to enter from. Yeah, I'm a big fan of how this game looks. I mean, it's not the most technically impressive graphics, but it's got a nice feel to it. It's got a very sort of, like, not, I wouldn't say realistic, but physical feel to it, especially with the how immersive the VR headset makes it. I mean, it really does feel that you're not just looking at a generated 3D image. It feels like you're looking at something that's been constructed, like genuinely, like a little diorama, like a model kit that's been painted. And you know what? I really dig that. Okay, this is our second sort of collectible. Dust. When I first played this, I didn't realise this was actually a tracked collectible at all. I thought that this was like how you refilled your health if you needed to. Although in retrospect, there's no way to hurt yourself in these early sections, so... Right, we can just simply continue through the game, but... Collectibles! Optional platforming challenges. They're here. They're here to reward us for our exploration. Ooh. Yeah. I do wonder about this whole little area. It seems strange that it's just a collectible up there. I wonder if at one point there was going to be a switch to open the gate up here. Although in retrospect that would be terrible security. Can I touch that bell? No. Okay. Whee! Quill can handle quite the jumps. I don't even notice it yet, but there's a subtle little page turning noise whenever you exit a stream, which is a nice touch, I think. It's also why I'm not too bothered about hearing my chair creak whenever I move around. It feels like the game is constantly giving you little subtle reminders that you're at some level reading a book, I guess. Also, I like this little guy. Is he a gerbil? Is he a mouse? I don't know. Do gerbils have tails? I'm bad at rodents. Maybe he's a dormouse or something. He just sort of walks back and forth here with his sword. I guess he's the guard. Guess this is very Redwall, isn't it? Having all these rodents with armor and stuff. Never read Redwall myself. I feel like it's more of an American thing. Not that that's a bad thing or anything. Oh, here he is again. I mean, look at, like... I love that they went to all the trouble of rendering all this. I mean, as far as I'm aware, you never get to cross here. Like, there's this fat fucking hamster guy having a fish, so you can't get across the bridge, but it really helps sell the idea that this is a real place. Or at least a real imagined place. All the little houses. I love this sort of stuff. You can see through that door. Is there something in there? It looked like there was something in there. Can't see anything anymore. Weird. Right, let's check. Just oh. Oh, it was just a tiny little mouse. Hello? Okay, this is a bit weird, but It's like there's a... It looks a bit like Quill. Oh, a tiny bucket. Okay, I'm going to stop just staring at things now and actually play the game. Try to reset the camera after all that. That's fine. Lose distracted. Maybe they come out at some point. Maybe they went in when I wasn't looking. But they did look like a little mouse that looked just like Quill inside there. I could just about make them... Oh, man! I'm getting distracted again! Oh, this darling little mouse village. Well, this isn't the first, like, 3D VR platformer. Hey, look at this guy. Is he a chinchilla? I was going to say a chihuahua, but that's obviously not the case. I also love how continuous the world is. Like, you can see the areas where you're heading to coming up. I suppose that's not too hard to achieve, but it is nice. I like it. I like this game a lot. Okay, can't get across the bridge. It's fairly obvious what we have to do here. Right, okay, once you're holding in a thing like this, you can move your hand back, thankfully. So you can see the dot of the orb is over here, well away. Makes using the controller a lot easier. Right. Ooh. There you go. Right, platforming in 3D, in actual like virtual reality 3D. It feels a little easier, especially like a fixed camera platformer. I mean, they could easily like adapt this into a 2D fixed camera platformer, I suppose, but I feel like it'd be a little more difficult to play. Only a little mind, but like, I guess they could move the camera around a bit. But like this section here is one that gives me the most amount of trouble. We've got a tight rope across the top of the roof here. It's very easy to slip off. So generally in VR, actual like spatial awareness is a lot easier than in traditional games. Okay, wait until that's in the right position and jump across. Like aiming a gun in VR is very, very easy. It just feels very natural.
Bill had saved priceless grains from the hourglass.
Strange turn of phrase. You're right there. Yeah, we're good.
She raced to the door of the cottage she shared with her uncle, hoping once he saw her discovery, he'd lose himself in tales of its legend.
It's a cute little squirrel mount there. I guess squirrels are dumb creatures in this world, whereas mice are super intelligent. Sort of a little backwards from the real world, I guess, because squirrels have, you know, much bigger brains. Big old brains. Big brains.
Uncle Argus was watching the evening light dim when Quill burst through the front door of their cottage. Uncle! Uncle, there's something you have to see!
Out past the bell again,
He scolded.
Quill, I've told you countless times.
I know, Quill replied, crestfallen. I didn't mean to worry you, but I found something strange and magical. Quill's hands trembled as she showed him the glass. What is it? She asked. A look of panic spilled over her uncle's stoic exterior.
Where did you find this?
Roared Uncle Argus. Quill had never seen her uncle so shaken. Just west of the clearing, she explained. And as soon as I picked it up, something started helping me. Uncle Argus followed her motion.
A reader. With you, here, right now? Quill, what you found is very powerful and very dangerous.
He said with great concern.
If I could take this burden from you, I would. But this reader has chosen. Even with the moon full and bright, I must go right away.
Quill pressed. Where are you going? I can help. We can help.
No, he snapped. They'll find you and tear you apart. I have to go alone. It is for your own safety and for everyone here in the clearing.
His long, heartfelt hug told her he was heading for danger.
This is where our collectible scrolls have been heading up. See, we've got 3 of them so far. Yep, and we've got 15 magic dust as well. As I said, I didn't even realise they were collectible at first.
I'll be back before midnight. Until I return, I need your word you will not leave the clearing with that glass. Promise me, Quill.
I promise, she said reluctantly, wondering where her uncle was going so deep into the night.
Actually thinking about it, is this the magic dust here? I mean, this is we're collecting pieces of a picture of a stained glass window here. Stained glass window that pointedly doesn't exist in this large vaulted room full of windows. Oh well, back to the game.
Hey, kid! Kid! Wake up! Hey, kid, over here! I know where your uncle went. I can show you. You're twofold now. Very important. Bring that glass, and your sidekick, too. We're going to need them. Quill called out. Hey! Starting, wait!
I resent being called a sidekick. I'm in charge here. Anyway, this is Quill's uncle's house, Uncle Argus. We might have heard that name somewhere before. See, it's once again, darling little. Look at that tiny knife, little cups. I love this. I love this stuff, man. And look up here. They've got a bee. They've got a caged bee. Closer look, find there's a little hidden thing back there as well. But yeah, they got a little bee. And the picture there, that's the castle from the intro. That's the map from the intro. They've got like a squirrel on a banner where you'd find a horse. Man, a little bellows by the tiny fireplace. You can barely see any of this because of the lighting in here. But man, the picture of Quill. Man, I love it. I love it. I mean, that looks like a whole stack of those scrolls back there. Can't collect them though, they're uncollectible. There's already much to do here apart from get that scroll. And marvel at the little environment. Oh man, there's a chest back here. Can't open it though. I mean, does that look familiar to you? It sort of resembles the pattern of the stained glass window, but not exactly, I don't think. It's got no colour to it.
Quill had never met a starling. In campfire stories, they often meddled in the lives of mortals. And when they appeared, mischief followed.
I'm trying to work this out because we're at a different angle from when we entered this area before. I believe we came from this way. Which is now completely dark. Is this the way? Maybe this is the way we couldn't go. I don't know. I really can't remember. Yeah, it must have been from this way. The squirrel was here. Now we're following the starling, which is not an actual bird starling. Some sort of fairy, I guess. Very tiny fairy. With the name Starling, is it like a bit of a star or something? I don't know. Seems weird that they went with a name that's already a thing for another thing. Anyway, if we want to collect all the dust, we're going to have to break all the boxes.
Was strictly forbidden. But despite her promise, who knew in her heart that Uncle Argus needed her?
Ooh. Gotta break them boxes. Very important. Gotta get all the dust. We're dust collectors. We're like Blinks the Time Sweeper. Did he collect dust? He had a vacuum cleaner. I'm gonna aim to get all the scrolls. I might have to like use a walkthrough to find them all if I miss some.
Demanded answers. Starling, you can't just barge in here with your riddles. Where is he? What do you know?
That little cave didn't seem to go anywhere. So a lot of times I wonder, like, when there's these little areas, is like, did they plan to put something there and then change their minds, or is the game just designed to feel like?
Is the kind only you and that silent giant up there can get him out of.
No reflection at the minute. I guess there's no water down there. What was I saying? Oh god, it's so easy to lose track of what I'm saying when I'm playing VR games. I know I'm not the most coherent commentator when it comes to, you know, Let's Plays on YouTube. I mean, look at my subscriber account, but you know, it's just something about, maybe it's like the visual overload, because normally you're just looking at a picture on a screen and interpreting that, but when you're on VR, it feels like it's all around you. And like there's much more like information about distance and space because of the actual, oh my god, will this please go the correct way? Over here, oh my word. Yeah, I'm glad there's not too much of this motion control stuff in the actual game. You can't play with the move controller because you need, it's a platform and you need the analog stick. The move controller is a legacy item from the PlayStation 3 days, where it was like their answer to the Wii and Connect, I guess.
And don't forget to tuck your ears in.
Well, hope that's safe. Yeah, but there was a move navigation controller that did have an analog stick on it. Unfortunately, it didn't also have the big glowing ball that the camera tracked. So it's useless for VR. So that controller's been discontinued while the regular move controller reigns supreme. Well, so I'm in some sort of mire. We do seem to be following the reverse of the tale told in the intro. And we started off in the forest where the sprite died under his special sprite tree. And now we're heading through the mire through which they escaped. Lucky these are here, really. It's quite a nice environment, the mire. We're seeing some hints of human conflict. I mean, all the architecture we've seen so far has been sort of tiny animal scale. But there do exist bigger creatures in this world. Though, given the state of these helmets, are all the humans dead? What is that? That's probably just jumping the gun a little on that. Just because we don't see them doesn't mean they're not around somewhere. Destroy the twigs! Destroy the twigs! There's no reason to cut a lot of this stuff. The twigs aren't in your way, you know. Oh, going around. So I really like the water effect here. Especially close up with the light on it. It's very textured. It's like once again, in a way, it doesn't feel like real water. Oh, the shield. Oh. Whoop. Whoop. It feels like the sort of fake water you'd see in a diorama, like a Viking ship on a museum or something, like a model of. This sort of like gloopy texture to it, like it's basically a layer of PVA glue with some colour in it and some details on top. It looks nice. I really like it. More signs of conflict over here. Definitely feels like some sort of battle happened a long time ago.
Just on the other side is the mire, the Starling assured her. There's a good chance your uncle's still there.
Well, he certainly left his squirrel behind.
Did you hear that?
What a big battle.
Starling seemed anxious. I've ruffled enough leaves in these parts. I can't be seen with you. I'll catch up with you later. Just don't go and die on me.
So it's interesting. So this seems like at one point humans would have coexisted with this tiny little land, because these rusty swords, they're on top of all the architecture here. So when they had a big fight here, they must have been like stepping over tiny little staircases and bridges and things. I wonder if a lot of this damage is due to just humans standing on everything. I mean, it must be, right? Ah, jeez. Oh no. You're welcome. We have the power to heal our friend. It's the same as the power to pet our friend, I guess. She's not into it at the minute. Probably more concerned with her uncle. Don't walk on that. That's water. You can't go in the water. Quill can't swim. I always feel like I'm missing collectibles. But hopefully I rarely am. Now this is one area that really makes me think I'm missing something. We'll talk about that in a second. Fairly straightforward. In we go. Yeah, getting hurt in this game feels real bad, because, like, I don't want my precious little mouse friend to come to harm. It's weird when there's a disconnect where it's not you taking damage, it's somebody else because of you. It feels much worse. Yeah, okay, this bit here is where I got... First time I played it, it's got here, went, there's a wall there, I'll go across here. And then, like, you continue that way, obviously. So I came down here, and like, you can clearly climb that, but there's a vine in the way. So the next mystery was, how do I get up here? And that's not the answer. That's not the answer at all. I hate myself because of that. No, what you actually do... Just let's get back around here. Whoop-a-doop-a-doop. Yeah, the actual trick to this is that there's just a door there. You're supposed to look for it, I guess. It feels a bit of an oversight that you can... I suppose a fairly minor oversight, but, you know, level design wise, that you can just skip this entire area around here. I mean, it's not a bad thing to have like alternate routes and shortcuts. And then you just drop down, you're on the stairs. But there's also this bit up here. I feel like I'm missing something here, because you can jump across here, right? And then let's have a look at the area here. Oh, okay, it doesn't like that, but yeah, it's just a platform here with nothing on it. Man, where am I? Just let me check. Oh, I'm way too forward, and that's why. Let's move back a bit. You can go some. Yeah, so there's no reason to go up here. So maybe it's just to have consistency, because there's a floor missing, obviously, from this tiny little mouse building. To explain the climbable surface there. Anyway, I'm not sure. That just stood out to me as a little bit of slightly muddled level design. Easy to get confused. Anyway, I don't think there's anything around here apart from this large gated area. Seem to have left the swords behind. Oh. Might remember this magical fire from the intro cutscene. And these robo bugs as well. Combat's fairly simple in this game. We've got like a 3-hit combo with like a little downtime on it before you can. Oh, will you stop it? But we can jump out the way, and we do have a dodge move. Although how the dodge works is it's not tied to a button. You have to press attack and jump at the same time to do it. But it also works so that any time during your attack combo, you can cancel out with a dash as well. But if you're not attacking, oftentimes you'll see me press the jump button, expecting to dodge. I need to get in the habit of pressing both to dodge. Can break this, there's not really much point to it. Around the back of stuff. And I don't think you can... Well, you can go in here, but I don't think there's really any reason to. And up here is a
A
cutscene.
whisper echoed through the trees.
Fought like someone who has stolen our champion's power.
Small,
And we're back here for story time.
sprites emerged, surrounding Quill.
I'm Veda, root seer of the mire, and you have crossed into our domain.
Yeah, we're getting more dust, so that's where the dust goes. But anyway, I don't want to rag on these cutscenes too much, because it's not a big problem. I mean, you don't really need too much story in this game. You can just skip through as quickly as you like. Oh god, my orb's going crazy. But it would, like, this massive frog with this guy on top, and like these people, like the way they move, they're obviously rendered in 3D. I mean, one of the most remarkable things about these story sections to me is that there are a lot of points, like, I mean, clearly Quill here is just her model, but there's a lot of points where like 2D elements and 3D elements mesh in such a way that it's not always clear what is actually rendered in 3D and what has been drawn and illustrated.
And turned her attention upward.
I sense you there too. I have not felt the presence of such a promising reader in some time.
A youthful warrior marched forward. Root Seer, I'm prepared to honor our great champion's legacy. Rodent, give us our glass.
I mean, like, look at this pair here. I mean, looking at it right now, I mean, clearly this fella or this girl, this sprite, I mean, that's an illustration, surely, with all the detail and the shapes. But this guy over here, he doesn't look too out of place, despite the fact he's a 3D model, and all the backgrounds and things. Well, at least a lot of them are. I'm not 100% sure.
Where is my uncle? If you've hurt him,
Silence!
Veda thundered back.
It was Argus who summoned us here, and now I see why. Young one, I'm afraid the trees hum of attack. Your uncle's been taken to the castle of your ancestors.
Quill's knees buckled as Veda continued.
Argus put himself at great risk calling for us.
Yeah, it seems like the more animated something is, the more obvious it's a 3D model, but like, is this Quill, is that just a render of the 3D model, or did they draw that? I honestly don't know. It's quite impressive. Those games have been going this way for quite a while.
The glass of your fallen king. He is the only one left who knows where it's been hidden. The arcane have long sought to wrest that knowledge from him. And you dare to cross into the mire with our glass? Sarfog will soon burn through this forest looking to tear you and your reader apart. Unless, of course, you find them first. Take these. Weapons made for the mighty champion who died so that your people could live.
Quill felt its otherworldly power course through her.
Find your uncle twofold before the serpent and its masters break him.
The warrior fumed. Our glass with her? Rootseer! She's minuscule!
Come now. The reader has chosen its hero. We must let their story unfold.
Veda replied with a frost of finality, and vanished into the shadows of the mire.
I mean, she's not that much smaller than you are, mate. I mean, you're like, I'm doing the thing with my fingers to show you how big he is, but you can't see my fingers, so that's a waste of time. Oh, back in the world. Yeah, so to me it's just a little frustrating that we got all those cool models and designs and we never get to see them. Like that frog and all that. We don't get to see them in 3D. If that whole thing had played out in like this environment and we could just look around and watch them interact, that would have been cool. But I guess be a less directed experience cinematography wise, I suppose. It's not really a great idea to take the camera control away from you while you're in VR. So, oh, that's going to be fun to get. Anyway, I think that's enough for today. We'll be continuing through this game. We're going to finish this for sure. Because I don't finish games unless I LP them these days. That's how my life is. How's yours? Good game, good game.